Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Tiranno, and today I'm going to be recapping week 23 of the 365-Day Movie Challenge, also known as the Vegas Film Critic Week. So if you have no idea what that means, let me break it down for you. Jeffrey K. Howard, fellow friend and film critic, lent me a few movies to watch for my challenge. And one of them was the Airport franchise, the series. I watched the Airport franchise, I think about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. To be honest, I really didn't like it. So, doing this every single day, I'm trying to watch movies that I'll enjoy. And then you go, yes, but then, Jake, didn't you, after that, do the worst movies, some of the worst movies ever made week? And I did. And I honestly probably liked most of those more than I liked Airport. Nah, that's not true. But a few of them were actually fun to watch. Anyway, so I gave the series back to Jeff without watching the other three. Jeff, of course, was not happy. So what did he do? He called me out. And if you haven't seen him call me out, you have to watch the video. He's very funny. Check that white eye right up there. Click it. You'll be able to find his video calling me out. So what I do, of course, I made a response video. I responded. They said, all right, Jeff, you're challenging me to watch the rest of the Airport movies. So I said, you know what, I'll do you one better. I'll give you a whole week of movies that you choose. The Vegas Film Critic Week, because that's his YouTube channel, which also you could find right in that white eye. So that's what I watched. I watched 7 movies that Jeffrey K. Howard, the Vegas Film Critic, picked out of his own collection to let me watch. And I'm going to review them right now. Now, before I get into that, though, really quick, the Henderson Symphony Orchestra did a wonderful job presenting a live screening of Metropolis this past weekend. Make sure to click that link, that white eye I've been talking about. You'll see it pop up throughout the video to also check that out. I did a little recap video on that, as well as some of my latest reviews. But let's move on and move forward and start with day 155, the beginning of Vegas Film Critic Week, where I watched the 1974 film Airport 75. So, after leaving the first Airport movie, I did not like it at all. It was overstuffed. It had so many characters. We had to take time to meet every single character and delve in. I mean, it was just so overbloated. Now, granted, I want good, interesting, and round characters, but I don't want to spend 20, 30 minutes meeting all of these characters. And the first Airport just did not work for me. And I'll have to give it to Jeff. I'm glad he did that because Airport 75 is far better than the original movie. I thought I won't say it's great. Like, I don't think this was a great movie, but it was definitely an improvement on Airport. It doesn't waste a ton of time on these characters, giving them long introductions. It introduces them quickly, and it pushes us right into the action and stays concentrated on it. It's not worried about all these subplots going on. Well, it does, but it's not so focused that it feels so stuffed. It balances everything well. It's able to juggle multiple subjects without feeling so full and convoluted. Again, not a great film, but a decent film. A movie that I actually was glad that I watched. It works, and it is far more effective than the original Airport movie. Now, also, during this week was the Las Vegas Film Festival. So I watched multiple movies on top of watching the movies that Jeff recommended. I'm going to be doing a video on Las Vegas Film Festival here this week, so make sure to tune in for that, as well as my reviews for Central Intelligence and Finding Dory coming out in a few days. So make sure to keep in tune for all of those. Moving forward, day 156, I watched Airport 77. And Airport 77 isn't very different than the other Airport movies. It's another all-star cast finds them in trouble in an airplane. Only this time, it doesn't take place in the air. It takes place underwater. That's right. Their plane crashes and they find themselves about 30 to 50 feet underwater, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to surface. And let's just say I wasn't very impressed. Even with Jack Lemmon and Christopher Lee, I just was not into this movie in particular. Just as ridiculous as it sounds, it just, these movies just felt so cheesy. And you know, sometimes cheesy works, and for me, this movie was not the case. I mean, Jimmy Stewart was in this movie. Like I said, Jack Lemmon, and they could not save this movie. For some reason, I just couldn't click with these movies. I just couldn't buy into the characters. I didn't care about these situations. I thought 75 was interesting. And then I moved into 77 and we're underwater and all the I was like, okay, haven't we done this too many times now? And maybe, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the first Airport that put me off, but Airport 77 was just not for me. I just couldn't. There's maybe a few moments. One of the interesting moments was when Jack Lemmon and Christopher Lee both tried to leave the plane and swim to the surface, and I think that was an interesting scene. But other than that, I was just like, oh man, I just couldn't get into the movie, And of course, we're gonna get that plane down, I think, or something along those lines. George Kennedy's like the entire series is like, we're gonna get that plane down in one piece. So what did they say in Airport 77? We're gonna get that plane up in one piece. Yikes. Anyway, the next day, I concluded the Airport series by watching The Concorde, Airport 79, which, if you watch Jeff's video, ding, he even says crap. I was just like, but I'm not going to stop now. Now I got to finish him, even though Jeff said this wasn't a very good movie. And he was right. So that's good. Because I think the Airport franchise was like 3 films too long. They just needed to make Airport 75 and call it a day. But this movie was a disaster. It is sloppy, incoherent. You could tell it is just a cash grab created without care or reason or passion. It is filled with plot lines that just don't make any sense. And the characters are just making dumb choices. Okay. Here. So, you're on a plane. On this new plane that flies 2,000 miles per hour. You're zooming. You're finally, you're in the air, and you're like, oh my god, I'm terrified, because even normal planes are kind of scary, and I'm going 2,000 miles per hour, but I'm okay. I'm cool. All of a sudden, you're getting attacked by missiles. Heat-seeking missiles. You're being attacked by them. Somehow, some way, you're able to avoid that, and you're able to live. Using a flare gun out of a window. You opened up a window going about 15 to 2,000 miles per hour and you're shooting a flare. I don't know about you, that doesn't make sense to me. But no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm dismissing this movie on. You live. You survive the missiles. You get down on the air. So what do you do the next day? Get back on another plane, right? No. Woof. I'm just glad I'm over those movies. I'm done with them. I'm giving them back to Jeff. He can take them. Keep them. I don't want them. I'll buy Airport 75 maybe on Blu-ray. But not likely. Anyway, on the following days, I watched some really great movies at the Las Vegas Film Festival, but still continued Vegas Film Critic Week by watching the 1940 film They Drive by Night, starring George Raft, Humphrey Bogart, and Sheridan. And this is a film that I may not have seen had Jeff not recommended it. And I am so glad he did, because I absolutely loved this movie. By far my favorite movie from this week. It was just such a genuinely great find. It was just a gem. And I think everything about it is so attractive to a person who loves movies, from performances, from well-told stories to interesting characters. It's not filmed, and what's great, it's not fueled by one great story, it's filmed by 2. The first hour of the movie, you're kind of tackling this first 45 minutes, you're tackling this really interesting story of 2 brothers who are trying to figure out the truck driving business. Not figure it out, but try to survive in the truck handling business and maybe start their own truck business. And that's really interesting. And these 2 brothers have such a great dynamic. And in the second half, you have this betrayal murder mystery. Well, not murder mystery, but a betrayal, murder, femme fatale kind of thing going. A woman who will do anything for her lust. And, it is just, every character we meet is so interesting. And it's driven by just marvelous performances. And just this, for Ida Lupino, who is so good in that movie. She plays a basket case in this movie. She is so wonderful. George Raft and Sheridan, Humphrey Bogart, everyone is just so good. And we have that truck driving story, and it's fascinating, and you're interested, and you're just kind of watching these two brothers as they're struggling to make it, and it takes this huge turn, and it takes into you in this beautiful film noir. It deals with passion and murder and love, and it was just so fantastic. If you've not seen this movie, please check it out, because it might not be a movie you've heard of before, or might not be one that you see on all the great lists and the best lists, or even Humphrey Bogart's best of lists. Because to be honest, Humphrey Bogart, who you think would star in this movie, is actually one of the the side characters, but he is great in it. Honestly, a wonderful movie. Check it out. Find it at Movies and Candy. You know our good friends over there. Or buy it online. I think it's in one of the Humphrey Bogart 4-packs. I mean, get it. It is a great movie. That is one I'm going to buy for sure. Next day, I continue the Vegas Film Critic Week by seeing The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming. This was an interesting movie because it reminded me a lot of Steven Spielberg's 1941. And I'll get to that in a second. I mean, I think The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming was a very interesting, enjoyable movie. Not one. The only thing is that, I mean, I enjoyed it watching it. I was having a good time. I just don't know how much I'll remember it. Like, I can't stop talking about They Drive By Night. I really like The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming, but I'm not sure it's gonna be one that I'm gonna think about 5 years from now, 3 years from now, or recommending people like I will be They Drive By Night, because They Drive By Night really hit home with me. Like, I just love that movie. I will say, though, it is far better than Steven Spielberg's 1941, which is another political war comedy movie. If you don't remember, I watched 1941 very early on in this challenge, and I really disliked it. I honestly loathed that movie. And this movie offers laughs and a lot of good fun and great performances. A wonderful performance from Alan Arkin, who I didn't even recognize. I was like, man, like, they say Alan Arkin in this movie, and I wasn't, like, it just took me, it took me some time to be like, oh my god, that's Alan Arkin. Which is funny, because if you look up the poster, look up, The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming. Or maybe I'll post a picture right up here. Alan Arkin looks like Jimmy Kimmel in this little in this picture. But anyway, it's fast paced. It's a movie that you really appreciate editing for, and it dishes out some really great slapstick, which 1941 definitely failed to do. It's solid, and it still doesn't hold a candle to They Drive By Night, but still a wonderful movie. Moving on, day 160. Man, that number's getting up there. I watched The Day the Earth Caught Fire, a 1961 science fiction movie. Wow, you want to talk about a surprising movie? This movie was so surprisingly intelligent and clever. So unlike most science, I mean, this is a British film, and most unlike kind of the typical cheesy science fiction pictures we're getting around this time. It is not silly, it's not over the top. Instead, it is smart and sharp, and is filled with these great themes and ideas about the media, about war, nuclear war, and about social class. I mean, this movie is so smart and has so much to say, and you think about it. I'm just like, man, I think this is gonna be cheesy. I mean, you could just tell by the cover. They're like, oh man, this looks like something that's gonna be kind of campy. And not that it's a bad thing. And it was great. It was so smart. And I ate it up. I was like, wow, this is another really good one. I mean, this and They Drive By Night, though I still think I'd probably inch toward They Drive By Night, I mean, was a fabulous movie. It handles itself so well. And it's just if you like science fiction, I don't care if you don't like science fiction movies that much, but you're a science fiction fan, literature, or comics, you need to watch this movie, because this is just a great damn science fiction picture. Why do I keep saying science fiction? Science fiction picture. And I think it's a damn shame that people don't talk about it as much as they should. Maybe they do more in the UK, but I definitely never heard about this movie until Jeff recommended it. And that's a damn shame, because this was a wonderful movie. And I think arguably one of the best science fiction movies I've ever seen. It was great. Then I concluded Vegas Film Critic Week with the 1961 movie, The Ladies' Man, starring Jerry Lewis. And like most Jerry Lewis pictures, it is hilarious and clever, and it proves that why Jerry Lewis is such a legend in the industry. But I didn't watch Ladies' Man and just say, oh, this is Jerry Lewis's funniest picture, or this is my favorite performance of Jerry Lewis. No, I can honestly say that's not where my mind was. Because Jerry Lewis also directed this picture. And I honestly think it is his best film, not necessarily as a performer, as a filmmaker. Because it's so creative and so calculated. I mean, the layout. Okay, so basically the story, Jerry Lewis ends up living into a lady's house. And the house is set up like a huge life-size dollhouse. We could go from room to room to room to just like a dollhouse where you could play in all these different rooms. You're able to just move the camera wherever we want. We have fake walls, fake doors, and you have these really, really great ways of showing us everything going on in this house. I mean, the layout is just so marvelous and it enhances Lewis's storytelling. And I know that's not something you typically expect from me to walk away from, like, wow, The Ladies' Man has spectacular production design, and his direction is so spot on in this movie. But that's how I felt. Sure, Jerry Lewis makes us laugh in The Ladies' Man, but this is a movie that really made me appreciate him as a director. I mean, this movie was so well put together. It was great. It was great. Again, They Drive By Night was my favorite, but that was a wonderful movie. And that's going to wrap it up for Vegas Film Critic Week. This week, I'm venturing off into some more random viewings. No theme this week, but don't worry. In the following weeks, we'll start picking up some more themed things. I know I'll be tackling a Shark Week here sooner than later. As The Shallow will be will be coming out to theaters very soon. So I'm excited about that, but much more. Like I said, all the videos I've been talking about, you can find right here in that white dot. Click it, a bunch of links will drop down. You'll be able to see that. If you have any comments or want to talk about any of the movies that I mentioned, write me a comment down below. Or if you have any recommendations, I'm definitely willing to take them down here in the comment sections below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to slap a like on it. Lets me know I'm doing a good job. Lets me know you enjoy it. And that's going to wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Tiranno, and please continue chasing cinema.